welcome to Starter Review. I am your co-host, Andre. So you're right over here. It's the Mellball. Mellball, how you doing today?
I am doing okay, Andre. It's been a fun little weekend over here, nice and quiet in Chateau Mellball, which is nice because good guy, Miss Molly, I need it. How are you doing?
You told me it wasn't too quiet at Chateau Mellball.
I wish it was quieter, but it was certainly this. Let's put it this way: there was glorious chaos that was not needed to be outwardly expressed.
Oh, and I'm talking about your cat.
Oh yeah, that motherfucker. Screaming the song of his people at both 3 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. this morning.
Ooh, that's not fun.
No. Anyone want a cat?
No.
How are you?
I'm doing good. A few days into working out now. I'm sore every day now, it feels like, but it's going
Welcome
good.
To the gym life.
It's going good. I'm going good. I'm week into working out and been good. Been watching some great wrestling. Getting ready for some video game. I've been playing some great video games. Playing the new Pokemon DLC of Pokemon Scarlet, and I'm getting ready for Assassin's Creed Mirage in a week and a half.
Ooh, exciting.
So lots of great gaming, lots of great wrestling going on, but we are here to talk some Stardom. And we're going to be talking the 5-Star Grand Prix from September 16th, 17th. We're going to talk the 5-Star Grand Prix matches from those two shows. But before we get into that, I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much for the support. We really do appreciate it. I know Mellball does.
Of course. Love chitty-chatting with everybody.
Yeah, please keep dropping your comments in the section down below. We love talking to you guys. We may not get back to you right away, but we will get back to you. We like to conversate, and we love hearing your opinions and your ideas on professional wrestling. Joe Demetrius, Frank, and Bobby Petito, the two latest guys dropping comments in our videos. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. And Jason Rutledge, actually, from a comment from a couple of videos ago. Thank you. But thank you all very much and everybody else that's dropping comments, for all the great comments you guys have been dropping. We love talking to you. And so don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and hit that notification bell. Ding, ding.
Ding, dong.
That's it. That's how we do it.
Sir. Rude.
I tried to do it wrong for you, just so you could correct me.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Dingle, dangle.
Dingle dangle.
That's something we haven't seen in a while.
No, we haven't seen a dingle dangle in a long time. Maybe with Finley coming back to New Japan, we'll finally get some dingle dangles going on.
I mean, he did get a half dingle on there the last time we saw him, right?
Yeah, we haven't seen Suzu do a dingle dangle in a while either.
No, he almost did one. He almost did one a while back against Sonata, I think it was.
Hopefully, when we talk about today's New Japan card, the September 24th show, we might see a dingle dangle in his match with Ospreay. Let's hope.
Dingle.
I'm only 3 matches into that show, but yeah, it's so far really good.
We will get into that one at a later show.
But we're here to talk some Stardom, 5-Star Grand Prix. So we start on September 16th. We started off, with Tam Nakano versus Ami Sohrei. Good back and forth to start. Ami getting the shoulder blocks for 2. Tam comes back, hits the spin kick in the head on her, and gets the running knee in the rope, sending Ami to the floor. Ami cuts off Tam when she goes to the top for the dive to the floor, gets the torture rack on the apron, and places her on the turnbuckle, splashes her on the back, and Tam goes crashing to the floor. Ami then comes out to the floor, hits a suplex on the floor. She brings Tam back in the ring, gets a slam, and gets a 2 count. Ami unloads the speed shots in the corner, places Tam across the turnbuckle, hits the splash to the midsection, gets another 2 count. Tam fights back, but Ami gets the double shots for 2, then gets the high angle Boston Crab, but Tam eventually does get to the ropes. Spinning Samoan by Ami for 2. Tam reverses the Blue Thunder Bomb into a roll-up for 2, then gets a hold of Ami, but gets slammed into the corner. Hits a lariat, Blue Thunder Bomb, gets another 2. Ami's really dominating in this match. It's kind of crazy. Ami unloads multiple short arm lariats at Tam, 7 or 8 in a row. Like she was just unloading those lariats. Maybe not that many, but it was a bunch of lariats. And Tam tries to suplex, but Ami reverses to her own and gets her own suplex for 2. Hits a twisting brainbuster for 2. And this is where Tam comes back. She reverses what I guess Ami's version of ape shit into an inverted DDT. Tam hits a kick. Ami hits a big lariat for 2. Tam reverses another ape shit, hits the roundhouse kick, hits a German, and hits a running knee for 2. Tam then hits a bunch of kicks to the head, hits the buzzsaw kick for 2. She picks Ami up, hits the bridging tiger suplex, and she gets the win in 10 minutes and 2 seconds, according to Cage Match.
This was, I mean, it was later in the show itself, but this for me was, I thought, a little odd to start the Grand Prix, but I really enjoyed it because it set it up for the rest of the show. That high angle crab that Ami was doing was just so good. She's really, really efficient at putting that thing in and keeping it in rather securely. Because I remember Himika used to do the high angle crab as well, but she would sometimes drop it and she'd only be doing that single leg. Whereas Ami has that power, that flexibility to hold both, and Tam has the flexibility to take it. There is one point where in that high angle crab where she was sitting down on Tam's shoulders there because she had it in so deep, which we don't usually see with a high angle crab, just because that's Ami is also very, very tall in comparison to Tam. So it was very interesting to see her kind of pull out that little modification on there. And Tam, something I noted in this one that I really, really liked, she'd been kind of becoming a young buck in the last little bit, where she'd been doing a lot of kickity kicks and utilizing her kicks a little too much to the point where I was kind of like getting sick and tired of seeing them. This match, she's kind of pulled it back a little bit. She was utilizing kicks, but she wasn't utilizing them to the young buck level that she had been using them in the past, which I obviously very much appreciated. Lastly, I just wanted to touch on how I really like how Ami's recent look has kind of been almost like Julia. She's kind of been changing it up every couple of weeks with the hairstyle. It looks a lot more blonde and a little bit more pink this week, as opposed to last week. She was like straight fire with the blonde and red and orange in the bottom. I don't know if it's just a natural fade that's happened with her throughout the weeks, but I think it looks really, really nice because she's also combining that with straightening it, curling it. She's trying a lot of different styles and kind of keeping her kind of look fresh and new, and it's nice to see. I like that.
Like, I have a feeling Stardom probably has a couple professional hair people and stuff in the back that help these girls get to their best. They've got her. There's no way.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I know Asuka at WWE, she does her own face paint and everything, but like that's a very particular, thing to do for somebody. Makeup styling or matching to an outfit is very simplistic in comparison to what it is Asuka does. But I know also just being around such a massive group of creative women is also going to be insanely helpful for her. So she's probably in a really good position where she's got that person to do stuff with her, but also a lot of people saying, hey, have you thought about trying this? Hey, have you thought about trying this? To inspire her.
And she's evolving in every single way. Like, her in-ring is just getting better and better. Her timing, her attitude, her everything, I think, is just so good. So good.
Yeah. And it worked so well with Tam in this match. I really enjoyed it.
Very much so. We move on to another Red Stars division match. It's Hazuki versus Natsupoi. I don't know. I'm just
You're not doing the Nanu Hazuki.
I gotta stop doing it.
Nike.
No, Hazuki. Natsupoi.
What?
I don't know anymore.
Goodness gracious.
Really fast start with these two again. Both high speed division members. Nat misses a drop kick in the ropes. Hazuki hits the drop kick, but but she gets spin kicked when she's going for the running boot in the ropes. Nat hits a headhunter. Hazuki pulls Nat off the top when she's up there. Hits a face wash and the running boot in the ropes. Hazuki hits the slam and the senton for 2, then transitions into a camel clutch. Usually she transitions into the crossface, transitions into the camel clutch, but eventually lets it go because the ref's calling for something, but then they cut to a wide shot, and I'm like, well, what is she doing? Why is the ref making her stop counting? What the hell? They cut to a wide shot. It was really weird. The camera work on the show, this ribbon thing, there are times I'm like, what the hell is these camera people doing?
This was also the first show I kind of noticed that it wasn't considered one of their bigger shows, that they were doing that kind of widescreen back and forth between like ringside and widescreen.
Yeah, usually they just jump in these smaller events, like smaller buildings. They go from ringside camera to ringside camera to ringside camera. They don't go to the wide. They don't have the. I think it's the fact that in most buildings they don't have a position for the wide camera. That's the biggest thing.
But now with the NJPW merger here, they are performing in a lot of buildings that have the capability that we've seen with NJPW production. So maybe now we're going to start getting, kind of that NJPW-esque angling and film crew. And oh my gosh, can you imagine?
As long as it's not the strong people, we're good.
Oh, we're good. We're in Japan. We're good.
Where did I leave off? Oh yeah. Hazuki hits a back elbow in the corner, goes up, but gets drop kicked to the floor, and Natsupoi hits the high cross off the top to Hazuki on the floor. Back in the ring, Nat hits the drop kick in the ropes when Haz was coming back in, and then goes to the top, hits a high cross off the top, then goes back up and hits another and gets a 2 count. Hazuki and Natsupoi trade forearms in the center. Hazuki unloads on Natsupoi into it, and then just keeps going and going, gets her down. It's like hammering her with the forearms in the back of the head. It's great. And Nat kind of goes limp for a second. She really sold it well. You see her body just goes like against the canvas. It looked really good. Natsupoi comes back, hits a spin kick, gets the super kick, followed by the German, but Hazuki hits a suplex, but Nat comes back with the German, then hits the kneeling spin kick for 2. Natsupoi gets that fisherman twisting neck breaker. Then she goes to the top but misses a ferial splash. And Hazuki hits the MX, then the elbow in the corner, then hits the second rope drop kick for 2. Then applies a cross, but transitions into the crossface, but Natsupoi gets to the ropes. Hazuki hits the running boot in the ropes, then hits a DDT out of the ropes for 2. Natsupoi stops the brainbuster into a roll-up, but Hazuki gets 2. Then more roll-ups, and Natsupoi gets a 2. They're just transitioning back and forth the roll-ups. It was actually, I really love, especially with the high-speed girls going back and forth with the roll-ups. It's just so quick and fast. It's so good. Natsupoi dodges the big boot, hits the ferial ring for 2. Then Hazuki comes back and hits the boot, as I wrote. I don't know why I wrote extra O's in there, but I did. And puts Natsupoi up top and hits the MX from the ground to Natsupoi on top. She then scoop slams Nat, hits the top rope senton, picks her up, hits the vertical drop brainbuster, and Hazuki pins Natsupoi. We better get FWC versus Cosmic Angels for the titles.
Yeah, this was a fun match. Both these girls, as you mentioned at the beginning, coming in real hot and having that nice high-speed start there, just continued throughout the entire match. And I gotta say, these two are, we always have been, especially lately, seeing that viciousness out of Natsupoi, but seeing that viciousness matched in Hazuki, who's also been very, very vicious lately. I feel like Hazuki is here to make a statement, and she's having fun doing it, whereas I feel like Poi is just kind of like, she's a little aloof, I think is the best word to describe her kind of presence in Stardom. But man, what a presence. One of the Goddess of Stardom champions. Can't complain about that. There was you said it was the MX that she did off of the top rope.
Well, no, she put Natsupoi up to the top, then ran up from the mat and grabbed her down into the MX.
Was it a MX or was it a code breaker?
Whatever Bushi does with the double knees. The two knees is the MX.
I think in Strong Spirits they call it an unsafe code breaker. Whatever. A dangerous code breaker.
To me, I watched Bushi do it, and his double knee one is called the MX.
Okay.
And she does it with two knees, and Jericho does it with one knee, and that's the code breaker. So I always consider her move the MX, a version of the MX.
Wow. Tomato. We know everyone has different moves, names, and stuff like that, so we'll just go with that. That looked rough. And the setup looked awkward for it. If I'm not mistaken, that was a point where she put her up in that suplex, and Poi put her legs really freaking straight in a V, and it was like awkward placing her. Yeah,
well, Poi was trying to get her feet onto the ropes, but was missing it because she was lifted up too high, and it was just awkward of her putting her on the top rope.
And then as a result, Hazuki struggled for a good few seconds to get her kind of situated. I think at this point is where I noted that Hazuki seemed a little annoyed with her for the rest of the match. And then subsequently after the pin, you could see Hazuki just shove her right off like, man, get away from me. It was a really fun little end to this one.
Usually what she'll do is put a girl on, like, legs kind of like hooked around the outside of the ropes on the second rope. It was where she usually hits that MX from, that corner MX from. But like she put her on top, and I was like, oh god, and it was just weirdly awkward.
Yeah, it was to me the only kind of weird part of the match where I was like, what you doing there?
And I blame Hazuki a little more than that, because where she lifted up instead of putting her down, like she was trying to put her down while still being too far out of the corner. So Natsupoi's feet are just catching the rope. So Natsupoi doesn't want to let go because she was going to fall on her face. So like Natsupoi's struggling because she's trying to get on there, but Hazuki's too far out. So again, I'm not blaming Hazuki, but she was just out of position a little too much.
Yeah. It just looked a little weird, and as I mentioned, it kind of seemed to annoy Hazuki at the end of the match. Even Poi trying to like acknowledge her afterwards, and her just no-selling her and just nope, get out of the ring kind of thing.
Yeah. So post-match, Suzuki gets the mic. She goes, "I won in my hometown, Fukuoka. It was tough, but I was able to win today because of the support of everyone in my hometown, Fukuoka." Literally reading it word for word, the screenshot of the entire speech. Next time I come back to Fukuoka, I want to come back as the 5-star Grand Prix champion. In the main event, Maika, who is also from Fukuoka, will fight Azumi in a singles match, right? Just for today, let's all cheer for Maika.
Just for today. Woman.
They're different factions, but she's like, let's all support my hometown person just today. After this, please enjoy the last match until the very end. Yeah, and again, a nice little speech for her at the end. And I guess Stardom books people to win in their hometowns, unlike WWE. Yeah,
I mean, sort of.
Well, she won.
Well, yeah, but Hanan has lost in her hometown a few times.
Okay, but yes, Stardom has a better record of having people win in their hometown.
That's true. Better record is accurate.
Yeah. So we move on. Main event of the September 16th show. It's Azumi versus Maika.
Yes.
You're talking about Ami Sohrei's hair. I'm looking at Azumi's hair here, and blonde as hell today. Like she goes from like brown to blonde to dirty blonde. Just it switches up with this.
She's had pink in there a few times and purple in there a few times. Yeah, she's definitely evolved her look as well. Yeah, and the length that goes from short to long and back to short again.
I really noticed the hair this time because I'm like, holy shit, that's blonde. Like it was all like
she was very blonde,
like California beach blonde, like Sting in the early '90s blonde.
Yes, that yellow blonde, the Sailor Moon blonde, if you will.
There you go. Fast start from both. They eventually catch each other's kicks. Then they get into a series of reversals that ends with Azumi hitting the seated drop kick. Maika catches Azumi coming off the top, tosses her to the floor, then hits a lariat off the apron to the floor. Azumi hits the head scissors, or jumps up onto the apron and head scissors, and comes off the apron, hitting a head scissors to Maika on the floor. Then she goes back up the apron and hits a rough-looking double stomp to Maika on the floor. That one looked, ooh. Yeah, Azumi gets the spike head scissors when Maika's coming back in out of the ropes into the mat for 2. Then hits it looked like it's really weird, looked like a twisting falling version of Azumi Sushi into an armbar. I don't know. It looked really weird. It looked like a half leg drop roll from the
off the top rope there.
Yeah,
I called it a Faymasser.
Well,
it looked like a Faymasser to me.
Yeah, something like that. Again, coming out of the ropes, it's just really weird. She gets a 2 count, or no, so and she gets the arm into the armbar. Then she applies the double arm bar, but Maika gets to the ropes. Azumi goes up to the top, but Maika cuts her off, goes for the superplex, but Azumi, as she lifts her up, Azumi flips over, lands on her feet, and then comes back up and arm drags her off the top. Then she hits the top rope double stomp for it too. Again, really great spot from Azumi there to flip over and land on her feet and then hop back up there. That was awesome.
Super impressive.
Maika stops the La Magistral, hits a fall-away slam, then a lariat on Azumi. They start striking each other on their knees. They fight up. Maika unloads forearms, but Azumi kind of black flips through a lariat and hits the La Magistral into the arm bar. Then they trade pinfalls back and forth. Azumi gets the kick to the arm, but Maika comes back and hits a big lariat. Azumi stops the power bomb and hits a flip pile driver and gets the Azumi Sushi for 2. Maika catches a kick, hits the power bomb, then hits the off the shoulder spin out sidewalk slam for 2. Again, I don't know the name of that. I wish I did. She then hits Azumi with the Michinoku driver 2 for the win.
Yes, I was very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. That high-speed start was not what I expected out of Maika. I mean, I am happy with it, but it was not what I expected. I she's usually the power, and yes, she's very quick, but she's not, to me, what I would expect to see in a high-speed match. But she kept up beautifully with Azumi. I absolutely loved it. Azumi really targeting that arm of Maika. I believe it was the left arm, because her right arm is already taped up as hell. Let's just break the other one while we're at it. And she did so good at targeting that, because, I mean, thinking about it, as a little girl, it makes sense when you're going up against a powerhouse to either take out the arms or take out the legs. If they can't stand, they can't yeet you. If they can't hold you, they also can't yeet you. So it's it's a smart thing for a smaller girl to kind of target that. I also wrote down that spot that I mentioned, that it looked like a Faymasser to me, that she came off that top rope with before transitioning into that double armbar. It looked at first kind of weird to me. The more I watched it, I was like, that is kind of sort of really heckin' impressive. That she was able to kind of pull that off, because I don't know if that's initially what they were trying to do.
I don't either.
Making it look functional.
Yeah, it looked weirdly awkward, but I'm like, okay, I like the way they finished it, like how they came down to it, the famous or into the double arm bar.
Yeah.
It looked good, but it looked awkward as it was happening. It looked awkward, but then you realize, oh, that actually had a great outcome.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of expertise that I kind of expect of both of these women. Both of them are so experienced. Even Azumi is so young. I think Maika is in her late 20s, early 30s.
I think so.
Azumi, so experienced for how young she is in this business. I mean, she just celebrated her, 10-year? 10-year anniversary in this business? Very, very impressive.
Actually, it doesn't list Maika's age online, so I have no idea. But I know she's younger than Julia, and Julia is like 27. So I think this girl's like 24.
Utami's 25, so maybe that's kind of the ballpark we're looking at here.
Yeah, she's around there. And then Azumi's like 21 or 22.
Yeah, just the experience and veteran level wrestling that was on display in this match for how young these women are was just incredible. But also the resiliency of Azumi was on display in this match because Maika was sure when she got a hold of her, she was tossing her around really, really good. And man, does Azumi fly. Like she might be quick on her feet, but man, is she also apparently aerodynamic because man, when she gets tossed, she gets tossed. Really happy, obviously, myself having a huge crush on Maika that she picked up the win in this one, but I'm very concerned at what cost because that left arm. We might see some tape on that one now too going forward, and with the Goddess of Stardom tournament coming up, I'm very concerned.
She's got Megan Bain to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean you can't argue with that one.
So yeah, we get the speech from Mike after the match. He says, "Hey Azumi, I won today, but I'd like to have more singles matches with you." And then Azumi rolls out of the ring and just yells, "Stupid!" I don't know why she yelled "stupid." I was like, "Okay."
I think it was the reaction to Azumi rolling out and just walking away and not really giving her.
No, but Azumi yelled "stupid."
Oh, Azumi! I thought it was Maika yelling "stupid."
No. Azumi yelled "stupid" at Maika. That was just like what?
No, well. I don't know then. That's weird.
Because literally where I have the thing, like Mike is holding the mic down and just is stupid on the screen. So that means it's Azumi screaming it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Rude.
So then Micah gets the mic. She says, "Once again, everyone in Fukuoka, I'm home. I still have a chance to win the 5-star Grand Prix. I will definitely win and come back to Fukuoka. Tomorrow's show is in Saga, and it's the first one for Stardom. I wonder if all the people who came today will come tomorrow. Must be close. The prefectures must be close. I'm going to assume. I'm a little short on energy today, so when I say Micah is number one, say refreshing in the loudest voice." So she goes, "Micah's number one," and then crowd yells refreshing in Japanese. Yeah.
I'm sure that has a different kind of meaning over there. For
I guess Micah's just refreshing.
Hey. I mean, she is. Breath of fresh air, that lady. Look at that nice red hair.
Mm-hmm. So we move on. September 17th. I love the posters from this company. They always look good. 5-star Grand Prix in Saga on September 17th. We start it out with Momo Watanabe versus Hanan. Did Hanan work the other show? No, I'm thinking somebody. I'm thinking an Ami Sohrei. That's what it was. Ami Sohrei is the 2-day girl. We have a standard wrestling transitions back and forth. Momo more dominant between all the transitions. She gets to she drop toe holds her into the rope, up kicks the ropes into her throat, then hits the PK to the back. Momo tosses her by the hair, chokes her in the corner. Momo unloads more kicks to Hanan when she's against the bottom rope. Just being generally Momo Watanabe in this.
Yep.
Yeah. Hanan tries to fight back, but Momo drops her with another kick for 2. Hanan misses out of the corner. Then Momo sends Hanan out to the floor. Rock and Star the Kid then take her, toss her into the chairs a couple times. Then they toss her back in. Hanan fights back, gets the judo toss, gets Momo on the ropes, hits the body attack, like the running like hip attack into the she does kind of similar to Natsupoi, but she hit her essentially with her ass. I don't know, it's just body attack, whatever it is. Setting Momo to the floor. Then she hits a crossbody off the apron to Momo and the rest of Oedo Tai. Back in the ring, she hits the crossbody off the second rope for 2. Momo gets a Uranagi, but misses the splash. and Hanan gets the running back elbow, but Momo gets control with the rear naked choke, then gets the hooks in, but Hanan eventually gets to the ropes. Hanan whips Momo off, Momo goes to the top, but Hanan whips, just snapmares her the shit off the top, and then hits a bridging fall away slam for 2. Momo gets repeated chest kicks, but Hanan fights back, hits the backdrop driver, then the running famouser for 2. Hanan gets the drop kick to the back, puts Momo up to the top, but Momo fights her off and gets the second rope Meteora for 2. Momo hits a buzzsaw kick, hits the Dude Buster, but Hanan actually rolls Momo up for 2, and then Hanan gets another roll up for 2. Momo then gives her a nice strike, picks her up, hits the Hito Danashi driver, which is the front Dude Buster, and she gets the big old win.
Yeah, Momo was definitely just Momoing in this match. I mean, since joining Oedo Tai, I mean, she had a vicious streak in Queen's Quest. Putting her in Oedo Tai it just made her meaner. Hanan, though, not backing down in this one, was really matching Momo's viciousness in this match, which I really, really appreciate. It's been nice to see Hanan kind of coming out of her shell a little bit. She's still that cutesy little girl in the picture, but she's really putting up even more of a fight now to some people who I would say, maybe outrank her in experience or veteran or that kind of thing. She is doing so good. She's been such a treat to watch grow. I didn't enjoy the Oedo Tai shenanigans in this one. This one was, I think, the first time that I was like, okay, this is too House of Torture. When you're being more annoying than a House of Torture is being annoying right now, that's a big nay-nay. That's a big pass for me.
Oh, I'm going to complain about them from this September 24 show match that I watched. I know I'm going to complain about them.
No spoilers. No playing big dick.
No, he's little dick.
Right, sorry, little dick. Right. Anyway, didn't really like that. Didn't like the tossing into the chairs, but man, I'm working with someone like Mayu Iwatani, and Hanan has picked up some really good flailing skills. And it literally at one point looked to me like Mayu Iwatani was being tossed through the chairs. And then she turned around and no, surprise, it was Hanan. This one was pretty standard for me, though. There was nothing that really hugely stood out, but it wasn't what I would say wasn't very good either. This was just a really great, strong style wrestling match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It is good. Again, it was a good match on the card. It wasn't
Absolutely.
It wasn't one I put on a big list anywhere, but it was a good match on the card.
Yeah, 100%.
So we continue in the Blue Stars division. We got Mirai versus Mariah May. Back and forth wrestling to start. Mirai gets May's arm. I'm gonna say May for Mariah May, so I'm not saying Mariah and Mirai. Just
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mirai gets May's arm in the ropes, up kicks the ropes, then grits it with her legs and does a Zack Sabre neck snap to the arm with the legs. And then she gets a 2 count, then gets the arm bar, but Mariah May gets the ropes. May tries to low bridge Mariah over. Mariah stops short and just starts stomping May. It was actually kind of funny because she's good at timing that low bridge, but this time just a little too early. And Mariah stopped. And attacks her in the corner with a chop, couple of lariats. But May comes back, gets the speed chops into the corner, places Mariah up, hits the double chop, hits the Stratus Rana, and then gets the second rope drop kick for 2. And then May tries for an arm bar, but Mariah fights it off and gets to the ropes. May ties Mariah up in the ropes, hits a drop kick to the back, then tries the sunset bomb off the apron, but Mariah fights it off, hits a lariat on the floor. Mariah gets the rolling, sends May back in, and comes in, does that roll, that front roll through the ropes up and hops up into the flatliner for 2. I love that.
So good.
I was
so good.
I know Xavier Woods has another version of that move that he does too. And again, I just love when people come through the ropes like that into a move. It looks so good.
So crisp, yeah. Especially when they're good at it.
Yeah, then she goes up to the top, hits the Vader elbow for another 2 count. They trade strikes at the center. May hits the big boot, but Mariah gets the angle slam looking thing. I don't know what to call it. But May comes back, hits the Barbie blade, and both are down. Mariah blocks the butterfly suplex, hits the drop kick on Mariah May, then hits the lariat to the corner, followed by the drop kick off the top rope. Mariah tries for the SS Columbia, but May rolls her up for 2. But Mariah then gets a running double axe handle, just bang, old school, just wham, just hits her with that sledge, then hits the SS Columbia with Michelle for 2. May comes back with the butterfly suplex, but then she gets tossed over the top, but hits the head kick and the springboard drop kick, but she only gets 2. Mariah misses the Rainmaker. May gets the Once Upon a Time roll up for 2. Mariah stops a German, gets a backdrop driver, but May stops Mirai shock and hits a German. May hits the TKO, but Mariah kicks out at like 2.9. I thought it was over there. Mariah reverses a move by May, hits a bridging overhead belly to belly for 2, then hits a running lariat for 2. May unloads just vicious slaps to Mariah, but Mariah comes back with a hard ass lariat into the spinning Mirai shock, and Mariah picks up the victory.
This was a very interesting match because we've seen Mariah get into matches where she's, the power, her power is a little questioned, and her authority in the ring is questioned by her opponents, especially by people like you. Don't know why you likes to slap.
I don't question it.
You know what I mean, sir. You know what I mean.
I know.
You likes to slap Mirai, especially around a lot. But it was very interesting to see the difference in height, difference in size between Mirai and Mariah May. May doing fantastically against Mirai. I always knew, we both knew how tough Mariah May is, but seeing her go toe to toe with Mirai, I think this was the most kind of pop-up comebacks that I've seen Mariah do in one match, which was incredible because she was coming back no problem and meeting Mirai's power right back at her. It was such a great back and forth for these two. This match was so good. This was actually a match I would consider, if someone's interested in checking out Stardom, this would be my top 10 matches to suggest. Just because you got that great combination of these two styles, but these two women just so good together. So good.
And for somebody coming in who hasn't watched a lot of Stardom, Mariah May gives you that, she has a bit of that American style in her, but she also has that hard-hitting Japanese style to her too. Like she has her Stratus Rana. She incorporates a lot of those older moves, but she does it in such a good way, and is really worked in well with the. I guess she has the British style, but you know what I mean.
And the British strong style can be very similar to the Japanese strong style, but yeah, as I mentioned, Mariah May has just integrated so flawlessly into the Stardom locker room. It's like she's always been there. And it's been a real treat to watch her kind of go toe-to-toe with some of these powerhouses like Mirai to just kind of assert herself in Stardom. And I hope to see her there for a good long time.
Yeah, I really do too. But again, all the rumors about her.
Rumors schmoomers. Tony, know your place.
Tony, leave her alone. I want her to stay in Stardom, boy.
You break a lot of things, Mr. Khan. Let's let them build themselves up before you break them.
Well, then there's rumors about WWE interests and everything. So again, there's
Well, I mean, obviously, when you gave her a chance before, let her go spread her wings, let her do better somewhere else. Of course, you guys want her back.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
But, can't have her right now. I'm busy with her.
No. Well, we get on to the main event of the September 17th show, and it's Suzu Suzuki versus Ami Sohrei for the second time on this show.
Yes. Shout out Ami working 2 nights in a row. Actually, everyone did, but we're just talking about this one.
But 2 big 5-star matches in a row.
Yeah,
It's
a lot of work, especially given who you're going against.
Yeah, Ami right into the chops. Like doesn't even give her a chance to start. Like she's just chopping her right off the hop, right into the corner, puts her across the corner, hits the splash to the midsection and gives a 2 count. She then applies the standard Boston Crab, but Suzuki does get to the ropes. Suzu gets the running knee to the face and the ropes. Then hits boots to the face of Ami and the ropes. She goes to the floor, hits the drive-by kick, and then comes back in and gets a 2 count. Suzu ties Ami up in like a ball, and like she got her in a ball, and then she's like pulling like a straight arm bar while she's in a ball. I called it the submission ball. I don't know. A submission ball with an arm bar. I don't know. Like she had her like
ball of yarn.
Yeah, she gets her in the ball of the ball of evil, and I don't know. Ball of yarn seems too tame for Suzuki.
She uses barbed wire. You want to call her barbed wire?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, she ties her up in the ball, and but Ami does eventually get her foot on the ropes. They trade strikes at center. Ami unloads, but Suzu hits a hard as shit hit, like punch, just cracks her. But Ami comes back, hits a ripcord lariat, Rainmaker. Then some more shots, more short arm lariats, hits a spinning Samoan drop for 2. Suzu and Ami start exchange, just going back and forth with holds, reversing each other. Ami hits a suplex, but Suzu then hits a super kick and a German, but Ami comes back with a lariat. Ami hits the Blue Thunder Bomb for 2, then gets the high angle Boston Crab, and then really sits down on it. Like she's sitting down tight into it and really wrenching back on it. And for the high angle Crab, she's really sitting back and it looks really good.
Again, she's really, really good at that and hanging on to that. But how many flashbacks was that giving Suzu? Being that is a move of Risa Sera.
True. She ends up pulling her back to center at one point, but this is where Suzu kind of rolls through, comes up, rolls her up, and this is where she ties her up into her submission ball again. But this time, instead of pulling an armbar, she has a Kimura or Mirai on, and she's like trying to submit her that way. But Ami again does get her foot on the ropes eventually. So Suzu sets her up in the ropes, hits that nasty German out of the corner, but then gets stopped when she goes up to the top. They fight up there. Suzu hits a hard smack across the face, tries to do a sunset flip bomb into the ring, but Ami holds on. Suzu comes back up, and this is where she hits the Thekla Spider German out of the ropes. Then as Ami stands back up in the ring, she hits the top rope drop kick for 2. Suzu unloads a buzzsaw kick to the head, but then Ami rolls her up, and then they trade roll-ups back and forth. And then Suzu hits the German, ducks the lariat of when Ami comes back with the lariat, hits the tequila shot, and it is over, ladies and gentlemen. Suzu Suzuki is your winner.
I was really happy about this one, obviously.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, this was just a big old power match, and I loved it. One thing I did want to note real quick about Suzu Suzuki, I mentioned the change in her appearance before, but like while we're talking about how drastically Ami's appearance changes, I mean, let's talk about how drastically Suzu's changes. The last show we talked about her, she looked like how she looks in this picture. She had the two-tone, the dark and the light kind of caramel blonde there.
I would say her hair was a little bit lighter than this, but it wasn't that, like, it was still like a brown though.
Yeah, it was. There were very obviously 2 different shades. in her hair. And she also had it looking more like this. She had her bangs down. She even had it curled at the last show that we reviewed. Then she came out for this one, and her hair wasn't like blonde, but it was certainly like more of a caramel blonde or like a lighter brown as opposed to the two-tone. It looked
I would say
shorter.
caramel. I would say caramel blonde.
Yeah, like it was a lighter brown or a darker blonde, however you're looking at the scale. She had it in a ponytail. She had her bangs stylized differently. She didn't have the side sweep like she does in this picture. They were just there. They were just flat out on her forehead. And she also has this thing where she does her makeup slightly different. So in this picture, you can see it's very light. It's a smoky look, but it's still a very light, smoky look with a very kind of not a very dark lip, but color on the lip. This night that we're reviewing, where she fought Ami, again, her hair was a caramel brown and she had a dark black, dramatic, smoky kind of look and a different lip. But what I'm getting at with all this ranting about makeup and hair is that when you have Suzu looking like this picture right here, it almost like it gives a sweetness to her. It gives her an innocence. When she came into this match with Ami, she left that sweetness and innocence at home. She came out with this almost grungy, like gothic, but still classy kind of look. And it's still Suzu Suzuki and who we recognize as Suzu Suzuki. I love how her look drastically changes so much. It makes sense that she's partnering with Julia for the Goddess of Stardom tournament. It just makes, or not the tournament, that she has tagged with her. It makes sense that there's a connection there because they're both so similar in that. Moving on from that rant, again, that high angle crab that Ami does, very reminiscent of Risa's era. I can't imagine how that was making Suzu feel, especially because she kind of got her butt handed to her a couple nights beforehand by her former leader, and pretty much it's shown she doesn't really have a place to go back to should things not work out with Julia right now. Kind of sad to see that because Prominence is definitely one of my more favorite kind of factions in professional wrestling. However, we can deal with that. Yeah, the comebacks that Ami kept doing were very great. Like just the way she powered up and came out. It was so nice to see. As we just mentioned, it's so nice to see her evolution and her changing throughout her career. I'm going to assume that maybe the rest of the year she's going to be a little quiet. But I think next year that we could potentially see a little bit of a resurgence from her.
Yeah.
Especially because with Saki being in God's Eye now, have you noticed the little dirty tendencies they've been starting? Suri and Mirai, I'm noticing especially. We're seeing that with the looping the arms through the rope and kicking the rope. And like, there's just been some dirty tactics. Ami hasn't quite picked that up yet, but we still see Saki in her corner. So that's an interesting little dynamic that's being created. Very happy she didn't mess with May also while she was in Ami's corner.
Yeah, I also look at there's always the possibility with Suzu Suzuki that her and May could end up in DDM because they do have the partnership and friendship with Maika, and that could bring them because then her and Julia have seemed to somewhat bury the hatchet of all the hatred they had for each other that went from when they were wrestling in another promotion. So there may be there's a possibility she could end up in DDM. Like there's all these possibilities on what she could do in the next little bit.
I mean, arguably the two stables that I would say are suffering member wise, and I don't say for quality of member, I just say for number of members, would be DDM and Queen's Quest.
Well, even Queen's Quest has like five or six people. Where
that's true. Sometimes I forget about Miyu.
You get Miya Misaki. Again, you have a few people.
Hina and Miui Misaki, I tend to forget a little bit.
Well, she's official. She's official.
I know.
She's official Queen's Quest.
However, adding a few more solid members would definitely help to elevate Queen's Quest as well. But it would also help to elevate DDM.
Or DDM brings in Suzu, Mei, and Bane. And then they're a powerhouse unit.
We'll see. I mean, Megan seems to have followed Utami over, but she hasn't really shown any loyalty to Queen's Quest or any faction in particular, just herself.
She's running the tag tournament with Maika. She's regularly been teaming with Mei, Maika, and Suzu. So again, I would love to see DDM expand with those three coming in to create like a super. That would, if they did that, it's hard to argue that would be the most strongest faction of them all, just on power alone.
And arguably one of the most marketable. You would have a very, very eclectic mix of women who are native to Japan and women who are not native to Japan. That's a very extremely internationally marketing team right there.
Very much
marketable team.
Yeah. So we're going to get to the post-match. Suzu gets the mic. She says, "Those people are going home. Please stop for a minute. You did such a great job. Such a great job. Such a great job." I think she was saying, she's saying it to Ami. She says, "Sohrei, you're certainly are big and strong, but there's such a big difference between you and me. Saga, only in Saga. That feels good. Yeah. Suzu will win the 5-star Grand Prix and become the face of the wrestling world. You can all look forward to it. Thank you very much." And that was it. Short, sweet, to the point. Suzu keeps it easy.
Yes, she does. Woman of few words, but the words are very meaningful when she says them. Don't have too much to say on that. It was a nice, short, sweet outro. Good way to end the night. It's nice to see her doing promos. It's really nice to see her. She always kind of did do that already with prominence. It'll be interesting to see how Risa Sera starts to compensate for that, because I know I've seen her on other shows, but I've only seen her wrestle. I haven't seen if she does any talking, if she does any promos, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how Risa compensates for the fact that Suzu, who was obviously more, I don't want to say more charismatic, but she was certainly more sociable.
Yeah, very much so. So we're going to give a quick point update. I'm going to make that a little bigger for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to actually turn that off so it's easier to read. In the Red Stars division, you have TM Nakano with 9, Mayu Utani with 7, Hazuki with 8, Natsupoi with 9, Sohrei with 9, Ami Sohrei with 4, Natsuki Tora with 12, Starlight Kid with 4, Suzuki with 8, and Saya Kamatani is out of the tournament. Again, I really thought this was going to come down to Natsupoi and Natsuki Tora, but TM Nakano's back in this, Hazuki's back in this, Sohrei's back in this, Natsupoi's still in this, dang, man. Suzuki's still in this at 8 points. This isn't as clear cut as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, that depends on the eye of the beholder. I still think that Tora's going to take it.
It's very possible. But again, I would love Suzu to take it. I really, really would.
I mean, I would too, but I think that right now is Tora's time.
Yeah, I can see it.
I mean, look at what she's done. I mean, yes, Suzu has had a very impressive run especially the last couple of shows that she's wrestled in the Grand Prix. But Tora has that win over Tom Nakano. Tora has that win over Mayu Iwatani. Tora has that win over Natsupoi. Suzu unfortunately can't say the same.
Yeah, again, it's still in a team, but Tora has the advantages if she ties.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we move on to Blue Stars. You got Hanan with 2, is eliminated with 2. Utami is still in this with 8. Azumi's still, pretty sure Azumi's still in it with 6, because she still has 2 matches to go. Utami still has 3 matches left at 8 points. So there's a big chance for her. Julia's sitting there with 7 matches down. 2 matches to go with 9 points. Maika with 7 points, but and again has only wrestled 6 matches. Still has 3 matches to go. There's only literally like 2 weeks till the end of this, or from when this happened. So again, it's coming down to it. Mina Shirakawa was 6. Mariah with 8 points. Again, still in it because she still has 2 matches to go. Then you have Mina Shirakawa with 6 points, but again, she has 3 matches to go. Mariah has 6 points, still has 2 matches to go. You have Momo Watanabe, 8 points, 2 matches to go. Again, this block is still wide open. But then you have Sayori Anu with 8 points, but only 1 match left. I think she has the least amount of chance of anybody to move on because she doesn't have enough. Other people can surpass the 10-point limit. It's very possible. So I don't think Sayori Anu has the shot at getting this. Winning this, my personal opinion. But yeah, again, this block is still wide open except for Hanan and Anu, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. That blue block's stressing me out. Stressing me out a lot.
Like it's gonna come down to that final night, and I'm just gonna be sitting there watching it because it's gonna be 10 matches on that.
My nails off, which is a shame because they're expensive.
There's going to be 11 matches on that final show because they're going to have the 10 block star matches, the final matches, and then they have the finals that night too. So like that's going to be an extremely stressful night. Yeah.
Stressful for them, stressful for us. Good times all around.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another episode of Stardom Review. I want to thank you all for joining us here. Don't forget to like the videos, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll alert every time we drop a new video.
Ding dong.
Hello. You can find me, on the X, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Hive at that Canada guy, the TikTok, the Instagram, and the Threads at that Canada dude.
The Threads.
You can find me over on our Facebook page at Andre and Mellball Wrestling Talk. If you want to reach out to us over there, give us a chat. We really love that. You can find me whenever I appear on our local establishments, which me and Mel have been talking about doing a little more stuff over there. So you might be seeing a little more from us coming out in the next little while. Yeah. It'll be a couple, 2 or 3 weeks before we're ready to start dropping stuff over there. But again, I might be appearing on other things over there because we have a little bit of a talent shakeup, and we might be some new stuff coming in. I might want to guest in on some of this stuff when I can. Yeah. So please check them out at twitch.tv/our local establishment, Instagram and TikTok at OLE Podcast, and youtube.com/@our local establishment. You can, and then you might be watching us over on Backbreaker Video. If you're not, go check them out at youtube.com/@Backbreaker Video for all the great wrestling content they put up there. Mike's watch-alongs get restreamed on Backbreaker Video. Or if you want to watch his live stream watch-alongs of AEW Dynamite Live, please check him out at twitch.tv/MikeTheRef. You can see all his live gaming content. A lot of good times over there watching him play games. And he plays games with the community too. Let's check him out over there. If you want to see replays of his gaming content and more, go to youtube.com/@Backbreaker_gaming. You can find him, Mr. PJC, Mr. Rick Jules, and their freaking guest, Miss Kayla J.
Kayla J. Love Kayla J.
Mel's a big fan of Kayla J.
She's so nice.
Mellball, where can they find you?
If you're wanting to follow a Mellball, you can follow her on the X thing at Collins Mellball. You can follow her on everything else. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Mellball Collins. You can also find me on our local establishments programming, Paramindful. We've got an episode coming out on not tomorrow, not today, Monday, but next Monday. It's going to be another EVP one. We kind of figure everything out over here. That's going to be done by Alex, the werewolf. He hasn't even told me what he's doing it on, so it's going to be a surprise for everybody. You can also find me on Astro Pizarro's YouTube channel with our show, Ladies Wrestling Showcase. We're going to be doing a show this week talking about all the crazy ish that's been going on within women's professional wrestling, all the firings, all the debuts, all the stuff. All of the stuff, women's professional wrestling. You're going to want to come over and check that out. What else? If you're wanting to watch Stardom, you can find a link in the channel description, or you can go to stardom-world.com. It is 999 yen, or approximately $10 Canadian. Shout out Sean Spears, but it's more like $7.30, $7.50, depending on your dollar. So depending on where it is, will depend on the price, but it's still an amazing price to watch some amazing women's wrestling. If you go back into the library there, you can see all of the matches that we've been talking about here today, as well as some familiar faces from AEW, WWE, Impact. You're going to want to go check out stuff like that. You'll see some familiar faces like Tony Storm. You'll see some Io Sky. You'll see some, who else? Piper Niven. Get some Bea Priestley, one of my personal favorites.
The lady's about to return, Kairi Sane.
And you might even get introduced to some new faces you want to see in those companies. So you definitely want to check that out.
Except Mariah May. She's not allowed to leave.
She's not allowed to leave yet. We still have work for her. That being said, Andre, do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
I just want to say thank you all for joining us here.
Sweet, simple, to the point.
That's me, sweet and simple.
Hey, at least you're not simple and effective. I mean, you are that too. That being said, I am your mama. Over there is Andre. We will see you next time. Mwah!